Hi, everyone. This is a short screencast for Independent Colleges Dublin for CIMA E2 for November 2014. And in this particular screencast, to draw your attention to question 5 of May 10 on CIMA's website, we're looking at levels of strategy. And this is very much a sort of a standalone area within E2. I would have thought that it would come up in a fairly straightforward manner. Okay, what we're asked to do is just explain why SBUs or strategic business units and their strategy link into the other two levels, i.e. corporate above and functional or operational below. No specific scenario as such, as you'd expect in these types of questions, to be honest with you. Okay, now in terms of the detail here, they start off by explaining what an SBU is. And I think it's important to do that regardless of which area they come at this from. In other words, whether or not they say functional and how that links into the others, or corporate and how that links into the other two. So, that definition of really, a division with some sort of autonomy is important. And typically, as you see, it's sort of responsible. An SBU is responsible for its own product or indeed service in some way or other. Okay. Now, just remember that we have three main levels: corporate at the top, SBUs in the middle, and then sort of operational or functional. Perhaps middle level could be shown as sort of the managerial level of strategy also. Okay, and the types of phrases that you will see within a question that focuses in on that sort of triangle, that three levels of strategy, are things like sort of congruence and indeed alignment, and perhaps constraints, i.e. the idea that lower levels of strategy are constrained by the higher levels. And what you'll see here is that in this second paragraph, really they talk about each of the levels sort of being guided or constrained by the level above. And words such as interdependence and consistency and indeed overall fit or fit with overall direction are important. Okay, so outside of the definition of SBU and using those sorts of words, what you'll find that they do within the balance of the question is really talk about what happens at each of the levels. So, at corporate level, we're really concerned with, what business are we in? So that's very much sort of investment decisions for each of the SBUs or the business units. At the next level down, at SBU level or perhaps middle level, we're talking about, which products and services are we going to promote and indeed sell. And then down from that, really, we're talking about the nuts and bolts. Interesting point here, they mention about the sort of the degree to which perhaps the SBU levels make their own decisions is certainly going to vary depending upon the type of structure within the organization. In other words, centralized decision making versus decentralized. So that's just a nice point to make about variation from company to company. Okay. Now, dealing again with this idea of the SBU and the impact upon perhaps lower levels, what they've said here is that certainly SBUs will inform the development of functional strategies. And in terms of functional, I guess we're talking about things like the various departments, as you would expect, IT, marketing, etc. So really, there's a sort of a definite flow from top level really down to that operational functional level, and things need to be aligned, decisions need to be aligned, and there needs to be a fit with the overall sort of corporate framework. Last point, really, what they say is that that direction that's coming from sort of the SBUs into the operational or functional level needs to be in the form of sort of digestible sort of elements. And really what happens, as I said above, is that at functional level, it's very much sort of the nuts and bolts, the action takes place there. So they refer to this idea of, turning theory into practice. Similar phrase here, you'll see that the business level strategies, and indeed all levels, working in a supportive sense rather than in a sort of a conflicting sense. So really a summary on this area of levels of strategy. We know that there's three. We know that there's interdependence. We know that sort of corporate in effect informs the sort of SBU level. We know that SBU informs the operational or the functional level, and there needs to be alignment between the three. Okay, so that's a basic summary. Hopefully that's been helpful to you. Many thanks.